Yeah. What's up, everybody? Welcome to CRL Chart Request Live. I'm Spencer Israel here, as always, with JC Parets, founder of All Star Charts.
What's up?
What's up, JC? How was your weekend, man?
Fantastic long weekend. Father's Day. Went to saw the Iron Pigs against the Toledo Mud Hens on Father's Day with my daughter. It was lovely.
Two of the great minor league baseball names, no doubt. But you didn't come here to hear about that. You came here to ask about stocks, charts, ETFs, tickers, whatever is on your mind. If it's your first time watching the show, the concept is very simple. You go into the chat, you drop a ticker, and we discuss it. And as I said previously, I actually do give preferential treatment to those people who email us. We actually had an emailed question this morning. So JC, I would like to start with that, if you don't mind. And it was a question about crypto. Maybe can we bring up a chart of like Riot versus Mara, or Mara, however you want to say it, Mara, and just compare the two, and maybe a relative chart over a several year period. Maybe he asked for a 5-year or year to date.
So here we're looking at Mara, right? We're long calls on Mara. We're long the January calls and having a heck of a day today, actually. Slow morning, but we're back, I guess. Highs of the day so far for Mara, so I'm thrilled about that. So we'll be selling half our calls as soon as those premiums double, which looks like breaking out of this base. Looks like they will. Our target is $20 on the stock. What we can do here is we can clone this page here, and we can add a Riot. As a matter of fact, Steve Straza on our morning show today was actually buying the Riot live during our morning show. And as you can see, this is Riot. To give you guys some perspective, this is Riot, right? You know, you can sort of change the color all you want. So this is Riot blockchain. Whoops. This is Riot blockchain, and in green, and it really does trade together. And looking at Riot, you're looking at a very similar sort of pattern, right? Really a consolidation within an ongoing uptrend, right? It looks like a bearish to bullish reversal here. You know, to me, you know, if Mara's going to 20, Riot's probably not falling in price. I think probably Riot goes along with it. Probably both of them head up to 20. They're priced about the same too, right around $10. So they're actually priced around the same. So yeah, probably both of them up towards 20.
I think it was Lexo who had emailed us, and his point was that they seem to their performances seem to converge and diverge over different time periods, right? So one outperforms the other, maybe over the 5-year, but then one will lead, and then the other will catch up, and then one will lead, and the other will catch up. But they look
pretty in sync, if you ask me.
All right.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you. And the reason he was asking was because he bought some Mara last week, and he wants to know if he's just sort of overinterpreting the relationship there.
I mean, listen, I mean, if you really want to get down to it, I mean, if you really want to get dirty, you can actually go look at the Riot Mara ratio, right, and see if there's anything there. You know, and maybe there is, right? So let's see. So you can look at the Mara ratio here. Whoops. Right, so this is a Mara Riot ratio. We'll look at a logarithmic scale chart. Right, so here, what are we looking at? You're looking at Mara versus Riot ratio, right? So as this line is going up, that's Mara outperforming Riot. As this line is going down, that's Riot outperforming Mara, right? And if you want to overlay Mara over this ratio, what does this sort of suggest here? Sort of suggests to me that when Mara is outperforming Riot, these things tend to be doing pretty well. See that, Spencer?
I do.
You know, you can kind of sort of see this scenario here where if you're getting that leadership, if you're getting that leadership from Mara relative to Riot, then here, this is Mara. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Mara. I don't know.
You know, I'll do it in orange for the kids. You know, the kids, these crypto kids, they love the orange. there, Spencer. I don't know if
I don't
you,
know.
I don't know if you heard. So, I mean, doesn't that look interesting? You think that's a coincidence? So it looks like when Mara's outperforming Riot, that tends to be good for the space. And as you can see, Mara's been underperforming for quite some time since the beginning of last year. It's been a rough time for the space. It's really, really interesting. Whoever pointed that out, nice call. If you start to see Mara here, you start to see this outperformance, you know, Riot and Mara could both do well. So in other words, just because Mara's outperforming, that's not bad for Riot, quite the opposite. That's good for Riot, Mara's outperformance. Really, really interesting. Good call out there.
Okay, here's a new one for me. CRH. This is an ADR. It's a construction materials company. $33 billion company.
What's the ticker?
CRH. It's an ADR. I don't know where they're from. Let's see where they're from.
CRH is the 38 billion from Ireland. Basic materials. Now the things with Ireland is a lot of companies are just there for tax purposes. So who the heck knows? This could very well be a company. This could be a company from Texas. You know,
here. It says that North America is their largest market and accounts for about 60% of their sales. So there you go.
Yeah. So it doesn't look like they have anything to do with the Irish. Although I love the Irish folks. You know, good time. CRH.
Yeah.
So we're looking at a material stock. This is a big material stocks, building materials. This thing is a real beast. I mean, look at this. You know, for a material stock this large, you know, almost $40 billion with a base this nice, you know. See that there, Spencer? We call that a big base.
I see some resistance.
Oh yeah, you do. This is you know, the late great William O'Neill might call this some kind of head and shoulders, maybe. You know, you know, kind of like, you know, right? Not a head and shoulders, excuse me, a cup and handle.
Yeah,
you were gonna say.
I don't know if I see that there.
Yeah. Sorry, misspoke. More like a cup and handle. I don't know. I'm not a cup and handle expert, but what I did point out, and kudos to you there, Spencer. You've been hanging around us for quite some time, recognizing the overhead supply here, referred to, of course, as resistance. Right, and every time we fail around here, you know, you start coming off. So, you know, we're looking at what? We're looking at 53, 54, right? I think this looks pretty solid. You know, 53, 54 bucks. We can go extend, see where we can go. We can potentially see, you know, extend up there towards 77.
All right.
What do you think? What do you think there, Spencer? You think that looks good to you? So that's how we chart the old CRH. CRH. Oh, good old Irish company, right? Good Irish company, CRH.
Irish. All right. What about for Sam? PGT Innovations is a smaller one, $1.6 billion company. I'm seeing just a huge explosion in volume going back to the end of last year. Not sure what that's about, but
similar situation, building materials. This is an industrial stock though. Again, big base, you know, resistance as you said before, you know, potentially exceeding that now. This is PGTI, right? And you could just sort of see, that resistance. Right, and then here we are again. Big base going back a year and a half or so, right? Not bad. Nice chart here.
Oh,
you can sort of extend. You know, we're getting some decent charts. You know, sometimes, you know, we'll do this sort of thing and it's like, all right, you really want to go look at it, you know, this random stock that's been beat up.
I know.
I mean, there's some strong stocks you guys are pointing out. Kudos to you. You know, this to me, 26.5 or so. You know, you had kind of like a little bit of a failed breakout, you know, up here. You know, not so much a fail. I guess it was a failed breakout, but really a false start, you know, after further consolidation. We really get going. We're holding this 26.5, 27 level. You know, you're looking at 38 to the upside, PGT. You know, we're getting that rotation. We're seeing a lot of small caps rotating, being rotated into, of course. We've been seeing, you know, some of the rotation into industrial stocks, of course, right? It's not just tech. There's a lot of names working, and at the small cap level, much lower correlation with the overall mega cap indexes for sure. You're going to see a lot of winners, even in a market that might be trading sideways or even down. You could still see some huge winners in small caps, and it goes both ways too. You can be in a really strong stock market environment, and you're going to find small caps that are getting the crap kicked out of it. Right. So it works in both directions. So small caps are a special beast if you have the ability to invest in them. Remember, some of these large banks, some of these big hedge funds, they can't touch these things because they're just too big and these stocks are too small. But for investors that might be buying a few thousand shares, 10,000 shares, even 20,000 shares, something like that, you know, you could do that all day. And you're not gonna be moving markets all too bad. So, you know, I think there's something for everybody there.
Here's another good one. U.S. Foods, USFD. They called it an upgrade this morning, but gosh darn it, look at this thing. This chart looks the same as the last two. Yeah.
You know, these are big winners for sure. You know, you're noticing, obviously, you know, it's just funny looking back. It's not only 5 stocks that are going up, right? So
how can it be if U.S. Food is nearing an all-time high?
So this is almost $10 billion. Food distribution, packaging.
Yeah, you always see the trucks on the highway, the U.S. food trucks.
Yep, you know, McCormick continuing to do well. There's a lot of these sort of like packaged foods and food distribution companies. Just the food business stocks continue to pop up, scan after scan after scan. This one looks no different, you know, really working on this you know, this overhead supply for sure. You know, but again, this thing got destroyed in COVID, came back, continues to push up against those former all-time highs. Looks like ultimately we're going to break out above that. You know, that's the bet that I would make.
This is looking juicy here. All right,
another good example.
Let's pull up a chart that's not going up or not at least near all-time highs, and that is EEM for I hope I'm saying this right. Demercy, I don't know. Demercy 5.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you know, this is emerging markets here.
Ooh, tough game. Tough game.
You got a lot of China here, but even, you know, if you go EMXC, which is emerging markets ex China, you know, you're still seeing it struggle. It's really an emerging market story. Maybe ex India. India's is really the area in emerging markets that's really looking strong.
EEM just turned 20 years old.
Did it?
Yeah,
that sounds about right.
Like a couple months ago.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's when I started getting in the business. You know, I've been around a few years. Yeah, so me and EEM are the same age.
Yeah.
In terms of our careers on Wall Street, anyway.
And the last 26 of those years, not great.
No, it's, you know, emerging markets
16. The last 16 of those years, not great.
Yeah, but you want to know something? We're starting to see some rotation into some of these areas. You know, look at Brazil making new year-to-date highs, right? So within emerging markets, you're seeing strength. Let me see. Look at Bank Nifty. Well, this is Bank Nifty, so these are Indian banks making new all-time highs. Look at Nifty 50 pushing up against new all-time highs. You're getting strength within emerging markets that you might not necessarily see in EEM, but some of the smaller areas you're seeing it. Look at Mexico, for example. Right.
Yep. Yeah,
you know, EM continuing to put up against new highs. So not every EM is built the same.
Right. EM is sort of an example of when indexes can sort of work against you, or when index construction at least can work against you, right? Because you obviously have no say in how that index, you know, is made. It's rules based. Whomever, what iShares, BlackRock, whoever runs that, they're the ones that are deciding the weightings, and it hasn't worked out as well as some other ex-China.
Look at this one. This is emerging markets ex-China, right? So this is the emerging markets outside of China relative to the S&P 500, still making new lows. So even if you take the underperformance out of China out of the equation, it's still it's still a struggle fest.
I'm surprised the last year. I'm surprised the last year wasn't a sharper uptrend in this one, right?
I was too. If you would have told me that the dollar would have done what the dollar just did, I would have said that's hilarious, because that would mean that we'd see a massive sentiment unwind, right? But we've seen the US dollar get destroyed. Emerging market currencies have done well, but it's really been the developed markets. It's really been the developed markets Europe. That have done so well, not emerging markets, which again is surprising. I would have certainly guessed that international equities would have outperformed in a weaker dollar environment, no question. And I did get that right. But I would have also said, or I did also say that I was expecting emerging markets to outperform in that environment. It did not. It was really the developed markets. Look at Japan, look at Europe, UK, Australia. Those are the areas that, we've been really focused on an international basis, not necessarily EM. But now that we're seeing Latin America, some of that stuff rotate. And if the dollar stays weak, you got to believe that we're going to see some rotation into emerging markets. I think we do.
All right, let's try to jump around here and try to cover some different markets, and not just stay in the same ballpark here. So let's look at Petrobras, PBR.
Oh, one of the great ticker symbols, Spencer. One of the great ticker symbols out there. When you make money in Petrobras, you go get a 6-pack of PBRs.
PBR is not good.
Maybe like a TV dinner or something like that. Like, what do you eat with a PBR? Like one of those frozen dinners with like...
No. You don't eat with a PBR, JC. Nobody eats with a PBR. They drink with a PBR. They don't eat.
Just drink... No, you don't pair it? What's the proper food pairing with a PBR?
Nothing.
Isn't it just starve?
A basket of fries. I don't know.
Sounds to me like you don't like Pabst Blue Ribbon.
I'm not. I'm not.
Any Pabst Blue Ribbon fans out there? Little PBR,
No, thank you.
Quality
there are other shitty beers that I will drink before that.
What's your favorite shitty beer?
Apparently Yingling is considered a shitty beer. I love Yingling. Is that considered shitty?
I don't think it's considered shitty.
I mean, someone was trying to tell me Yingling was shitty. I was like, no, it's not. I like it. Anyway.
Yeah. Is it a premium beer? Would you consider Yingling a premium beer?
No, but it's not shit. I don't know, but it's like not low class either. Anyway, Yingling is.
It's not like Natty Ice or like. No. All right.
No. All right. Anyway,
here's PBR for me, 16. That's an interesting one. So here you're getting exposure to Brazil, right? PBR. Let's see. When you look at the Brazil ETF, Petróleo Brasileiro represents about 13% between the common and the preferred.
This thing is
represents a little bit more. About 13.5% between the common and preferred of the EWZ, which is the Brazil ETF. And then the Brazil is a big part of the ILF, which is the Latin America index fund, the Latin America 40, the ILF.
Yeah, that's
do you follow the Latin America 40 index in New Jersey there, Spencer?
No, but I take a gander at EWZ every so often. Yeah, I take a gander at all of the country specific ones. EWJ, EWC, every so often I'll take a look at the.
Do you like the international work that we do? Do you like that? You digging that?
Yeah. It always interests me. I just like knowing when country specific markets are outperforming, right? And it's almost always a function of their currency, right? But I like knowing, Egypt is outperforming, right, over the last month, for example, or Greece or Brazil, whatever.
Well, right? Greece is outperforming this year. As a matter of fact, we're off to the best start for the NASDAQ in history. Fun fact there, Spencer. Best start to the NASDAQ in history as it makes new 52-week highs.
Yep.
When you look at the S&P 500, dramatically underperforming a lot of other countries. You know how many other countries are outperforming the U.S.? Germany, Italy, Japan, Netherlands, France, Brazil, Nigeria, Greece, Argentina, Mexico, Ireland, shout out Ireland, Poland, Taiwan, South Korea, and Spain. The U.S. is the underperformer. I'm being told it's a crisis. I'm being told, it's a recession, Spencer. The recession and the Powell and you know, you got you got the Trump, right? And then
I don't
you
think
got
that's part of it, but all right.
you know, you got all these things, Spencer. What I'm seeing is a stock market that's absolutely been ripping into your face all year long. And the U.S. is actually underperforming in this environment. It sounds to me like more than 5 stocks.
Well, let's stick with the tech theme, and we haven't talked about Tesla on this show. At least I haven't talked about Tesla on this show in what seems like a long time. So, how's that doing?
Well, the bearish folks.
This is interesting. This is an interesting one. Ooh.
You know, the bearish folks would tell you that this is the old, you know, the old oop-de-oops. You know, it's the old oop-de-oops. You know, you got your left shoulder, and then you got your right shoulder, and then you got your end of the world. Like, oh my God, the world's coming to an end. But that's not what happens, because what ends up happening is that we have a monster failed breakout, and you got your successful retests. How you doing? And then what happens? Off to the races, right? It was, you know, the initial thrust was great. You got your consolidation. Now you're off to the races. And what ends up happening there, Mr. Spencer, is that the kids these days, they read their books, right? They read these books. And in the books, it says, well, you got your left shoulder and your head and your right shoulder, and it's this whole big to-do. And the books of technical analysis focus a lot on like reversals and reversal patterns and mean reversions. And the books do a poor job of explaining that those are actually the very infrequent outcomes, because asset prices don't reverse very often. Asset prices trend. We know that. We have the data. So the kids that are reading the books, not that, you know, I read the books, just understand where the probabilities lie and that asset prices trend. So the fact that this is not a major reversal pattern and collapse, and Tesla's a fraud, and Elon's going to prison, and like all these things. Like, as it turns out, that wasn't the case. It's just a regular uptrend in a strong stock. It's $1 trillion now. It'll probably be $5-10 trillion before you know it, and maybe you better get used to that.
Yeah, I would just remind everyone in Tesla that prior to 2020, this thing was range bound for like 6 years. Right. I remember it would go, this is before the split, but it would go from like 150 to 300 to 150 to 300. And it did that over and over and over again. And every time it got to 300, the bulls were like, yeah. And every time it got to 150, the bears would be like, yeah. And it did that all the way until it finally, you know, did what it did in 2020. But this thing was range bound for a long time. So
yeah,
keep that in mind. Okay. What about for Ryan R. Shake Shack? The Shack, the new Shack, the cousin to Radio Shack.
This thing is, you know, it's a mess. You know, it's as messy as it gets. You know, this is a massive range bound market. You know, I'm not seeing much of an edge. We're right in the middle. You know, go back to the highs. You know, you got some failed moves up there. You know, you got your support down here. You know, you're pretty much right in the middle of that range. I mean, I don't really see any edge at all in this particular name. You know, short term, is there more upside up towards the 90s? You know, maybe. You know, it could act like as a vacuum, but where are you wrong, right? Where are you wrong from a trade? You know, maybe below 65 or something like that. You know, I don't hate it if you're looking for that trade. You know, it's not the cleanest, but it's okay. You know, if you're looking to trade it against 65, target up near 90, 50% return, there's nothing wrong with that at all. I don't know if it's going to be quite that simple. Could be. You know, this is a pretty high beta name, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
What's the beta on this guy?
So
you're looking at a $3 billion. It's got a 1.67 beta. So yeah. You know, it's a higher beta name. It's nothing crazy high, but it's definitely, I mean, it's almost twice as volatile as the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 67% more volatile in the stock market, but you know, it's in the middle of a range. It's not really for me, not a trade where I'll be like, oh, I'll put it on, but I get it. You know, trading it against 65 or something like that, I get it.
All right, we got time for like one or two more. Let's jump around here. Jump, jump, jump. What about? All right, you want to do Corsair? Corsair Gaming, CRSR? Sure, do that.
So this thing's
I mean, it got hammered.
$1.8 billion
Oh, that
computer hardware. So this is what, like gaming hardware, I guess.
yeah, like headsets is what they do.
Yeah, it looks like they don't do it very well.
Well, I mean, they do other stuff too, but it's not just headsets. But
Well, maybe they should focus on their other stuff and then these headsets that. Yeah, I mean, it's not for me. It's pretty messy. It's struggle fest. We start. I mean, maybe from like 17. Below. If it's below 18, short. I don't hate that short. CRSR below 18. If it's liquid enough, if you can get a borrow. Below 18, shorting it down to, maybe back down towards 11. That doesn't seem too bad. Above 18, you can't be short though. Above 18 can't be short. Too much risk here, especially in a very strong equities market that we have right now. But if you're looking for shorts, I don't hate this one. Only if it's below 18 though.
All right, let's do one more. Let's do CureVac, CVAC. Was this an IPO or it's probably a SPAC actually, because
A $2 billion biotech.
This thing came out in August of 2020, and then they've got VAC in their name. Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah.
Anyway, they actually had news today, but phase 1 news. Call me when it's phase 3 news, but all right.
Hey, you got to get to 1 before you get to 2.
That's true.
Listen, I think there's some trouble up here, right around 12 and a half or so, right? There, expect some sellers. Right now, the stock's right around 1176. So it's probably got some more upside to 12 and a half or so. I'd be careful there. Remember, this is a tiny stock, right? So let's remember what the beast, understand the beast that this is. And, this is a tiny biotech stock in a downtrend. And we're getting up to some critical levels of support and resistance right around 12 and a half. Right? If you start holding above 12 and a half or something like that, maybe you got another move back up here, back up towards 20. I could see that back up towards 20. But
I'm going to say that technicals in biotechs are not as important because no stocks as much as these have the ability to gap up or gap down 50% in your face. And sure,
right, but what you're not understanding, Spencer, is that what you're saying is technical analysis. Like
no, okay, no, but
like just recognizing that this is the way that it behaves because this is a biotech. That is technical analysis. You're understanding the behavior of the market. In this case, the market is this biotech stock that you're literally telling me is trades more volatile because of this and this. That's technical analysis.
Yeah. All right. I mean, if you're trading any biotech stock, know the calendar, know the catalyst, know the pipeline. You got to actually look at some fundies because you might wake up one morning and they had data. Oh, it was bad. Oh, you're screwed. Right. I mean, that can happen. So that's my general biotech. If you're trading biotech stocks, the index is a little bit different, obviously.
I got one to finish. Look at Royal Caribbean.
Oh yes, I've been pounding the table on these internally in Slack, JC. The cruise liners, they can't stop, won't stop. I don't know why. Maybe everyone is going.
Maybe it's a bull market. Maybe that's why.
Well, maybe that's why. Maybe everyone's going on cruises now that it's summer. I have no idea. But yeah, man, and Norwegian too, for that matter. All three.
By the way, these stocks have doubled this year.
Yeah,
both these stocks doubled this year. I'm told that only 5 stocks are going up. Spencer, cruise lines doubling this year. Are they in semiconductor? These cruise lines are also in the semiconductor business, or no? How does that work?
Look. Every morning,
Are these AI? Are these AI stocks also?
yeah, they're replacing the captains with AI on these ships. No, every morning I wake up and one of the first things I do is I look at what is gapping up and gapping down in the pre-market session, and we've reached the point now where pretty much the top gainer at 7 a.m. is CCL, right? Pretty much every day for the last week, 2 weeks. So they keep on going. And thank you for highlighting that because I've been pounding the table for a while. Okay, that is our show. If you have any questions, any more questions, and you want us to talk about your ticker, I give preferential treatment to people who email us. The email is on the screen, questions@stockmarketmedia.com. You can always participate in the chat, and maybe we'll get to it, maybe we won't. That's it for our show today. Of course, the show airs Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thursday's show has Steve Straza and Pat Donawilla from the Chart Report. So I'll be watching with you guys, but I won't be on that show. So stay tuned for that. It is Tuesday. I keep forgetting. So we have part of the price action in about an hour and a half from now, or maybe 2 hours, depending on when it goes live. So stay tuned for that. And JC, good luck with the rest of your day. Good luck on your trades. Everyone in the chat. If you want to drop us a like, we'd appreciate that. Catch you guys later.
Adios.